Hi, my name is Samantha and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, hi. Wow, I'm already gonna have to edit out some stuff. Fun. So welcome to what I am now calling Samantha Ray Creates. This is kind of a reinvented space for me. If you look back at my channel, this was absolutely a book-focused YouTube for like a couple months before I realized I couldn't keep up with, YouTube and Instagram and like life all at the same time. So I kind of dropped this to the side and focused on Instagram instead. Well, that is now left too. And that's a story for another time, but I'm no longer on social media. So I've found this kind of gap for myself, of a place where I can share what I love with the world. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love talking to a camera. It makes me feel more comfortable than talking to people sometimes. Like, I have my best friends, but sometimes that's more exhausting to me than speaking to a camera is. So not having that outlet of speaking to Instagram stories or anything like that is something I've noticed is a gap in my life. So I recently got really, really into knitting. And from that, I found Knitting YouTube, which has led me to now kind of want to reinvigorate this space. I feel like there's a great community of knitting podcasters on YouTube, and I just kind of wanted to join the fun. You can still expect a lot more than just knitting from me. I didn't want to pigeonhole the space as something that was exclusively for knitting or even exclusively for like fiber arts, because the pipeline is knitting and crocheting to like spinning, and so it's just like a lot of people I've noticed in that space, and I've already found myself really, really excited to like one day try spinning or pick up sewing. I'm really enjoying the process of creating my own clothing. I've always been someone who's loved fashion. Like, clothes have been a thing for me. I'm not like a fashionable. It's interesting because I wouldn't say I'm a fashionable person. I don't follow like high fashion. I don't follow trends very well. But I love clothes. Like, I like dressing. I like dressing myself. I like, shopping. So that's something that, like, the idea of making my own clothes and building my own wardrobe in a way that suits me, especially because I don't necessarily love a lot of the trends that are out there right now, is really exciting. So I will eventually go down that path. But for right now, I am exclusively knitting. And I have been for about 3, maybe 4 months now. I kind of told myself I want to give myself time to become really good at knitting before I try another hobby, because I have a tendency, ADHD girl, to jump from hobby to hobby and to get really, really into something and then like drop it. So I want myself to stick with this hobby for a bit before I move on to something new. So that's totally a long story short, I guess, of why I'm now in this space again. But who am I? So my name is Samantha. I am 30 years old and I live in St. Pete, Florida. It's a place that I've grown up in. I tried to leave, did not work. I moved to Paris for 6 months. It was supposed to be longer than 6 months, but I got massively depressed. Did not go well, hated it, and so I moved back home. That was right after college. And my plan was to leave the state for college. Like, I really, really wanted to go to Washington, the state, not DC. And that didn't happen either. I wound up staying at a college literally in my town. But all these things have been aspects of my life that have led to me being who I am. I'm an introverted person. My partner is also pretty introverted. He's a little bit more charismatic than I am, I would say, though. But you'll hear me reference him quite a bit because, he's an important person in my life. We've been together about 5.5 years now. We met at work, little workplace romance. And So yeah, I live in St. Petersburg, Florida. So for knitting, it is really hot here all the time. Like this is like a record weekend, I think, but I woke up this morning and it was like 7 a.m. and it was already like 88 degrees outside. So it is hot here most of the year. So it's really interesting, like as someone who lives in like such a hot climate, I haven't, at least personally, found a lot of people who knit that live in these types of hot climates. Hot, humid, gross, want to like tear my skin off kind of hot. Which, you know, I live here. So I can't, like, I could leave, though I really couldn't, because I'm also, you know, a millennial and cannot afford to leave. Yay. So that's going to be an interesting thread, I think, through my knitting, is I'm going to try to knit more with like plant fibers and things that are, and I probably wind up knitting a lot more things that are more Florida climate friendly. I will say though that my partner and I love to travel to colder climates. Like we both actually kind of hate how hot it is here. So we'll go places like last year in December. We always travel in December because his birthday is like the last day of November and then mine is the 11th of December. So we usually go on like a birthday trip. It's kind of the pattern we've fallen into. So like last year we went to Northern California because I really wanted to see the redwoods. It was cold in December. This year we're going to Copenhagen in December. So it's definitely going to be, I'm still going to be knitting colder climate items just because we do like to travel to colder climates and it does occasionally get colder here. Anyways, that was like a long ass tangent. Sorry about that. But I live in St. Petersburg, Florida with my partner and my 4 cats, one of which you've already seen walking in and out of this video because he is in need. He is right here. His name is Coley. He's my oldest boy. He's 14. I think 14. He's either 14 or 15. I've had him since I was a sophomore in high school. So he is my baby boy. I also have Effie, who is my second oldest. She's about 11, maybe 13 now. No, I think she'd be 11. If he's 14, she's going to be like 11 or so. And I got her as a sophomore in college. Her gotcha story is kind of funny. There was like, because I went to a pet friendly school. So you could live on campus and have pets. So I had him with me, and then someone in my dorm had decided to adopt a kitten. They then decided they didn't want the kitten. Essentially, I think they were like moving or something, but you know, they just let her kind of run around outside. She didn't have her shots. Like, I personally was like, oh my God, you're not taking care of this cat well. So I essentially just told them, hey, I'm going to take your cat. And they were like, cool, sounds good. So that's how I got Effie. And then I have Artie and Lydia. So Artie is technically my partner's cat. He got him a few months after we started dating. So he's about 5 years old, probably. And then Lydia, we got a couple months after that. So we have 4 cats, always wanting more. But my partner keeps me practical. And then, yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about me. I just kind of wanted to do this intro video just to start. I have a tendency to be like, I'm going to do this, and like film things and then not start. Cause I'm like, well, I need to do an intro video. I need to do like, I can't just start posting things. People need to know who I am. Like they need to know about me, which is not necessarily the case, but this makes me feel a little bit better. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me, a little bit about what you can expect from the space, which, like I said, is going to be a lot of like crafty things like knitting, but I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into that space. I plan on doing knitting podcasts. Those I will keep more or less exclusively knitting, except for at like the end, if I decide I want to do like an update section, that can be like what I'm reading, what I'm watching, like what I'm doing, how's life, like that kind of stuff. I'm not reading as much as I used to. I was, like I said, like I was big into the reading and review space for probably about 4-ish years before the story for another time happened. But I do still occasionally finish books. I do a lot of audiobook listening now. or like ebook reading. I have an excessive amount of books in my library that I'm trying to also read through. So I'm not necessarily reading new releases, which is what I was exclusively reading essentially before I stopped. Like I was reading ARCs and like a lot of new releases, indie releases. I was an influencer for Forever Publishing. So there was a lot of like that stuff happening. So now I'm kind of going back and I'm reading all these things that I own that I haven't read before. So it'll be a lot of backlog kind of stuff from me that you'd see. So maybe I'll do like, you know, monthly wrap up videos. Maybe I'll do quarterly wrap up since I'm not really reading enough to warrant like a monthly book wrap up video. And then I don't know, just kind of whatever I feel like. Like if I'm traveling, like you'll definitely get a travel like vlog from Copenhagen. I just went on a girls trip, which I had this grand idea that I was going to do a travel blog for that. And then I totally didn't. But I was living in the moment, you know, like that's one thing about not being on social media is I tend to live in the moment a lot more. But you'll definitely get like that kind of stuff, potentially also just like little yappy videos. Like you might have like a video of me coming in, like I'm working on my knitting as I talk to you about something that's been on my mind lately. Like social media and mental health. That's a big one that I have a lot of thoughts and opinions on that I would love to like make a yappy video about. So that's kind of what you can expect from me. It might just be like a whole bag of tricks. I don't know. We'll see how this space goes. But for now, I'm here. I just needed to do it, get over the hurdle. Anyways, if you made it to the end of this absolutely chaotic video, thank you. They might have more structure as we go along. I'll probably actually put structure in place because as you can see, ADHD girly, I have a tendency to just like talk and not stop and then like go on absolute tangents. So thank you so much for joining and I hope you guys stick around.